Heart and Soul. I want to make sure you know about our theme for 2020, Adventures in Faith. Expect a miracle. And we are deep dive now, like never before, deep diving into expecting miracles, while we are also doing our daily read, A Year of Miracles by Marianne Williamson. We are deeply diving into that. Today is day 250. That means this is 250th day of the year, folks. This reading for today is on remembering who we are. And I'm so grateful to have the constant reminders from Marianne. So I invite you, it's never too late to expect a miracle, family. I invite you to stay connected in all the ways there are to stay connected, including Facebook, YouTube. We want to make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Instagram, Twitter, and various podcasts. We invite you to simply be with us and make sure that you're sharing and telling your friends. There will be a community opportunity to give towards the end of our service, family, but we invite you into giving at any time, online or via text. And you can sign up for our recap so that you can get more information right in your email box when you're looking to find out what Heart and Soul has going on. And we want to make sure that you know that our community affirmation is still alive in us. Thank you for everything. I have no complaint whatsoever. Our practitioners are continuing the deep dive on A Year of Miracles. We take the day that it will. Tomorrow's day 251. That means that's what will be discussed in the session tomorrow. We begin at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. heartsoulcenter.org/RSCP Year of Miracles is how you sign up to get the regular reminders that it is happening. Tammy Hall family is live on Thursdays. We continue to support her and her magnificent presence. And she is there from 6 to 8 Pacific time via Facebook Live. Make sure that you are joining her, spending some time, telling your friends, and tipping generously. On Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, we have our live Point of Power with Reverend Andriette. It premieres on Facebook, YouTube, and via podcast. So make sure that you are telling your friends and sharing. This is an opportunity to have a pop to transform your week. We are excited to be doing this Essential Ernest Holmes class. It is based on Science of Mind's Declaration of Principles, also called What We Believe. And this class is really good. I know y'all don't know Ernest Holmes, get in on it. Big Ernie is my man, and I want to make sure that y'all know how good this class is going to be, so don't sleep. I know y'all like to wait till the last minute to register, but don't sleep on this. heartsoulcenter.org/essentialernest is where you register. It's 10 Thursdays starting September 17th, 6 p.m. Pacific. The tuition is $295. There are structured partial payment plans available. Reverend Jack is our teacher, and we're super excited about that. This class is required for any of you who are on the practitioner path, and the prerequisite for this class is a foundations level course. So either the foundations class or a spiritual principles and practices class, for example. So make sure that you get in there and sign up for this class soonest. And become a member of Heart and Soul, because membership has its privileges. In fact, you get a discount on that class if you're a member of Heart and Soul. But in order to become a member, you want to sign up for our virtual Path to Membership experience. It happens on Saturday, September 26th from 9 to 3:30 Pacific time. You are required to attend the entire session. In order to become a member, you can sign up by visiting our website, heartsoulcenter.org/become a member. Imagining Justice is coming back soon, y'all. Just 10 days. IJ returns Wednesday, September 16th. And before that, they being Valerie, Joy, and David, want to remind you that we are being educated voters, and we're voting responsibly. This is our opportunity to envision, empower, and protect the vote. Check your voter status. Make sure you register. Plan to vote. Vote. And stay informed about key voting information, and then remember to vote. And we are grateful and look forward to marking your calendars with IJ return September 16th. And we are saving the date for the second annual Urban Mindfulness Summit, which is happening on the October 24th and 25th. The details are unfolding magnificently. It's going to be so exciting. Not to mention the concert that is already scheduled with Ricky Byers. We're super excited about it. So family, come. Registration is coming very, very soon. So make sure that you are saving those dates. We believe in the power of prayer, and so following service by about 10 minutes, there will be group prayer available via dial-in. We also do prayer at 7 a.m. Pacific time on Wednesdays, and we invite you to get in and allow your life to be transformed by the power of prayer. And so, family, visioning is one of our core practices at Heart and Soul. And this vision was revealed to us early in the days of our inception. And we like to make sure that we stay grounded in it and remember who we endeavor to be on the planet. And so we recite it together. We are a loving and compassionate, world-class teaching and empowerment ministry. Through a consciousness of universal God presence, we release all resistance, separation, and fear. We claim our personal liberation and accept the eternal availability of joy, love, and abundance. Through our intention to be love and spread joy, we engender reflections of the same and more in others. Our ministry is a gift to the world, which expands through our practice and dedication. We welcome all people, and together we make a quantifiable, positive difference on the planet. And so it is. And so, family, I just invite you to find your breath. Allow yourself to be fully present in this moment, letting go of all that happened before this moment and giving no concern to all that must happen after this moment. Simply be here now, touching and agreeing, remembering to remember. It is the breath of God that allows us to be here now. Knowing this truth, accepting this truth, allowing ourselves to be made animated and nourished by this breath. Our breath is evidence of God's love. We are here breathing the same breath, the first breath. It is all we need to allow ourselves to simply be here now. And in this perfect moment, I know that God is all that there is. God is all that there ever has been. God is all that there ever will be. This moment, this perfect, glorious, God-filled moment is all that there is. I know this. I trust this. I rest, rule, and abide in the perfection of the infinite in this moment. Always present, always available, ever expanding, infinite, plentiful. And so it is from this that I, Sonia, speak my word on behalf of my beloved Heart and Soul Center of Light community. Simply knowing the goodness of the infinite is here now. That our eyes and our minds and our hearts are open to see that regardless of the appearance of things, God is working magnificently, perfectly, and in our favor. The goodness of the infinite is washing over us, allowing us to be enfolded in the perfection of love and kindness and compassion. I know that God is here, and we simply have the opportunity to allow, to accept, to see, be, feel, do, express as that love. And so I'm giving thanks. I'm giving thanks for Heart and Soul Center of Light and the space it has given us to stand courageously, authentically, unapologetically in the knowing of our power and the knowing that love is the answer, regardless of the question. I am grateful for Heart and Soul and all that it endeavors to be, all that it already is. I am grateful for every hand and heart that supports this ministry. I'm grateful for our board and our practitioners. I'm grateful for our beloved ministers. I am grateful for Reverend Andriette saying yes and saying yes again and saying yes again I am grateful, family, to have the opportunity to speak this word and for the good sense to be grateful this day. And so in perfect gratitude, simply release this word into the law, knowing that it is done not only because I speak this word, but because it is written on our hearts. And so we simply allow it to be so now and forever. And so it is.
Good morning, heart and soul. Those were our brothers, Gary Lynn Floyd and Jamie Lula, with Take a Hand, Take a Knee. This, to, I wanted us to begin with that particular song because it continues from last Sunday. And last Sunday, our fifth Sunday, where we spent some time sharing from the amazing work that we accomplished during our 2020 summer school. And their notion of take a hand, take a knee, it's a call to action. And that's really what our summer school was also about. Now, you know, if you've been hanging out with us for a while, you know that our fifth Sundays are always different, and that the fifth Sunday during the summer usually has us outside and celebrating. And of course, with COVID and shelter in place, we don't have that as an option, but we just did our best to still present something that honored a different depth, a different experience. So my prayer is that it landed someplace positive and beneficial for you. If that's true, let us know. You could do so in the chat. You can email me. Y'all don't know the kind of emails I receive. I would look forward to an email that let me know that the little summer school retrospective experience was a good thing. So, look, we are absolutely in the throes of hashtag 2020 in 2020. You know, watch me now. 2020 in 2020. And I want you to decide on your own what that means for you if you stand in 2020 in 2020. Certainly out of our Imagining Justice, the Urban Mindfulness Summit, which is coming up next month, mid-October, or towards the end of October, actually, it's the 24th and the 25th, that we're going to bring some folks together to give us a sense of, because we're in the final quarter now. We're in the stretch towards the moving to 2021, and it's time for us to take an assessment of how far. So what's happened? What did we learn? What did we realize in 2020 that we didn't know before? And where are we now? What are we up to around that? And then what's next? What's our call to action? What are we willing? How are we going to use these final days of 2020 to our highest benefit and the highest benefit for all concerned? So 2020 in 2020 is what's up. So I'd be remiss if I didn't remind you that exactly 55 years ago and 1 month, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Voters' Rights Act. And 7 years ago, the Supreme Court ruled that states had the right, states had been bound before that with honoring voters' rights because they had not been doing that. Many states had gotten caught, if you will, in violation of the Voting Rights Act. So they had to appeal to the court in order to change voting laws and guidelines and procedures. 7 years ago, the Supreme Court decided that states did not have to do that. So it has been since then. Here's my concern, y'all. There is I'm gonna come back to it. Here's my concern. I have to go here first. Is that there's a level of creep that that we are getting used to, that the changes, see, the new normal does not happen. You don't awaken to a new normal. It kind of creeps up on you, and then you realize you now have 10 extra pounds. Or you realize you have no longer been doing the workout, or you realize that you're no longer eating or greeting people, or you're no longer going or coming. There's a moment when you realize, oh my goodness, it has all shifted for me. That I have created a new habit, a new normal, and we are being immersed in, like the proverbial frog, in the pot of warm water. It starts cool, and then the heat turns up, and there's a point at which you realize you cooked. My work, as I understand it, is to holler, y'all, you're in the pot, and the heat is being turned up. There's some changes for us to make. And today is about that. What I remember is when, because I've seen films of this, where Lyndon B. Johnson, after the signing of it, he says that every American citizen must have an equal right to vote. It was true then, and it's true now. Bernie Sanders says that voter suppression today is alive and well in the form of unnecessary voter ID laws, restrictions on registering to vote, improper purging of voter rolls, felon disenfranchisement, and a staggering array of deceptive practices that are preventing eligible voters from participating in our political process. The Carnegie Corporation of New York last November listed the 11 common barriers, and he's touched on most of them there. He has touched on most of them in terms of how legislators in states that have a long track record of voter suppression, how they often implement laws to engage in activities that make it harder for certain segments, hear me now, for certain segments of the population to vote. This 2020 is a wake-up call. It's an invitation. It's a call to an awakening in our awareness, our consciousness of how is this thing working. Notice how it's working, y'all, so that we are not caught up so that we're not asleep at the switch. So that we're not asleep at the switch. There is a film that IJ, Imagining Justice, is a part of its Wednesday program. I know they at least visited it, if not reviewed it. At one point, it's All In, The Fight for Democracy. Stacey Abrams features prominently in this work. The co-director of the project said that this is the first monster movie I've ever made. The monster is voter suppression. And no matter how many times you think you've slain it, it comes up with a new mask. So I love the way she's framing it, because that's part of our awakening. This is the 2020 part of In 2020, is pay attention so that you'll realize that this is the same game being played on a new court. In Georgia, in 2018, as many of us are already aware, voter purges for exact match. And this is one of the 11 barriers where certain municipalities and states and counties have purged the voter records in ways that are intended to disenfranchise not everybody. They're not just going in there cutting people in alphabetical order. It is by certain criteria that when you look closely at the criteria, its intention is to exclude a certain group of people. And that's what makes it monstrous. Well, so many things about it. She says those were new masks, but it's the same monsters. There's a whole history of poll tax, and you heard it. You saw the video at the beginning. Now, here's the thing. When we play videos like that, I'm not expecting that you memorize it or that all of a sudden we're enlightened about whatever the subject is. You know we're going to give you the link to that later. And my prayer is that you're visiting that link and that you are sharing it with others. Why? 2020 in 2020. It's so that we can be better informed. Our sister, Stacey Abrams, who has said to us, vote like your life depends upon it because it does, says that the solution to a free and fair election is not the conversion of those to whom voter suppression seems like a necessary evil. We're not trying to convert the folks who feel like they got to live and die by this, but instead it is the conversion of those who think voter suppression is impossible to beat. Those who have decided it is simply what? Just the way things are. It is what it is. No, it isn't. This is where we invoke this notion that with my very last breath, this is where we invoke a John Lewis spirit, that I will do and continue to do whatever is required, get in all kind of good trouble, in order to make a difference. She says that those are the people who have given up, those who feel like, no point in voting because they're not going to let me, they're making it too difficult. Those are the people that we all need to reach. She says that I need to reach, but we're all in this together. She says because those are the ones who have given up their power because they don't believe it's worth fighting anymore. I have come today to say we cannot give up. We cannot give up. We cannot give up. We must fight the good fight. We must stand taller than ever before. We must show up in all of the ways that we possibly can. It's not the same for everybody. We're not asking everybody to march. Everybody can't march, but you can bake some cookies. You can make some phone calls. You can be part of a phone bank. You can address some cards. You can do some mailings. You can send some emails. There's something for you to do. You can babysit the baby so somebody who's willing to go can now go. You can support the elders. You can be with an elder who's like, I've always gone, I'm going again. You and another one can be on either side of that elder and support them in the process. Those who are attempting to fight but don't know the battlefield, we have to help wherever we can. She says her job and our job is to arm them with information. Today is such a day. I've come armed for bear, as it were. Because what? A trained thought. Our trained thought is more powerful than untrained thought. So this notion where you just say the first thing that comes to mind when you hear whatever the pundits are saying, we're done with that. No more just saying what rolls off your tongue. Do the research. Be informed, engage in trained thought so that you're really saying something. You're not just repeating what you heard and accepting it. That each of us must vote, and there's a point at which the conversation about how many parties, this thing is set up a certain way, y'all. The thing is set up a certain way. And do the research. At the presidential level, when has there been a third party? that has been elected. And I know we want to send a message, write a letter, send an email, make a poster, put a sign in the window, get a bumper sticker, send a message. But voting is not sending the message, babe. So there's something, it's 2020 in 2020. What are you using your vote for? You're taking the time to vote. I'm just going to suggest that you make it count. I'm not here to tell you how to vote in terms of what to mark. But I guess I am telling you how to vote, which is vote so that your mark makes sense. Oh, I didn't mean that. I'm not implying that however you mark doesn't make sense to you. I'm taking that back. What I mean is make it count. Do the research. Ross Perot. There's somebody else whose name just escaped me. But we know the name. There are only two names that got enough votes to even mention on Wikipedia. No, it's not Ralph Nader. But I'm getting help. I got my little lifeline out here working, and it's not quite on point. But there are two that would get mentioned with enough votes, neither of whom were elected, but had enough action to interrupt the process in a way, to make an impact on outcome. So if you want to impact outcome, my suggestion is do it directly. Here's what Ernest Holmes said, though. New arts, new sciences, new philosophies, better government, and a higher civilization wait on our thoughts, our trained thought, our dominant thinking, the infinite energy of life and the possibility of our future evolution. Work through our imagination and our will. The time is ready. The place is right where we are right now. And it's done unto all of us remember that part? While we are yet believing and acting in alignment with our beliefs. That ought to be enough. There's a part of me that feels like let's just read that over and over. He also says we cannot afford to hold personal animosities or enmities against the world or individual members of society. This is that forgiveness and let it go piece. We don't have no extra energy to be spared on or assigned to folks we don't like, and we cut it out. Just cut it out. We don't have the time nor the energy. If we're going to talk about conservation, let's talk about it with our spirit and our consciousness. We do not have the bandwidth to focus on what we don't like. Besides that, it is the antithesis to the principles of manifestation. What you focus on increases. So if you're not liking it now, focus on it a while. And then if you don't like it now, you really not going to like it later. That's for sure. Here's the thing about how we focus and what happens to us in all of this process. That there was a German Protestant minister, Pastor Martin Niemöller, and because he wrote it in German, there are a number of translations of this that vary some based on, I already told you, the translator is the traitor because they translate it so it works for them. And so the variety of translations are very much set to include those characteristics that are in question at the time. I'm told, my research reveals that this comes the closest to what he said. And he was in a sense, like many Germans, was a Nazi sympathizer in, you know how people kind of pick and choose the parts like we do now? Like, this part ain't so bad, so gone. Oh, but this part, no, stop them on that. And then there's the stuff in between where we notice and don't notice. So here's what he offers. He says, first they came for the socialist. And I did not speak out because I wasn't a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist. And I didn't speak out because I'm not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews. And I did not speak out because I'm not a Jew. Then they came for me. And there was no one left to speak for me. I want us to just sit in that. Because lessons we don't learn get offered again. This is a lesson we got to learn, y'all. That there are no people who are expendable. You know, part of it, and I'm not a historian, I'm not even a history buff, but let me tell you what just came to me, is that early in that Nazi movement, one of the first groups were the invalids, were the sick folks, the deformed, the people who, and it's interesting that going after them, there were people who had a feeling like, well, they've really kind of taken up space and the money and, you know, resources are going to them, and is it really worth it? The answer is yes, it's worth it. Because they're human. And if we have policies for humanity, they apply to all humanity. Not just the ones we like and the ones we're comfortable seeing and standing next to and being in a room with or seeing a photograph of. This is a lesson we got to get. If not, we just stay in the remedial program where we keep being provided opportunities so that we cease to see ourselves as separate. Because right here, this is where we get to expand our separateness. Oh, that's not me. The trans people, I'm not trans. The gay people, I'm not gay. I'm not bi. And then there's a moment when you make that full circle and you go, whoa, now you're looking at me. And what, y'all just gonna let them do me like that? Well, pretty much, because we've been trained. We've been trained to allow the worst treatment for the least of us, the least equipped to fight. First, we ostracize them. And then we somehow expect them to have the power to fight back. The mechanisms. We got work to do, y'all. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We must all learn to live together, what? As brothers and sisters. Or we'll all perish together as fools. You see, I'm baking baklava this morning, y'all. Come on now. Because those two pieces have to go together. Let's go back. First they came for the socialists. Then they doesn't fill in the blank. Whatever it is you think you're not, so it doesn't apply to you, you're mistaken. You are, and it does apply to you. Because that's just a slice of who they are. And can I tell you something? A bully isn't really caring about what color you're wearing. It's the nature of the bully that is going to find a place to bully. So this is why that's the sequence, that it's always looking for somebody to take down, to exclude. Dr. King, though, says we are tied together in the single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable, network of mutuality. I could go back and forth between those two slides for the rest of my time because I'm wanting you to connect them. Both things are true. One is like the historical and historical perspective of it. The other one is giving us the cure. 2020 in 2020, if you understand what Dr. King is saying. And you know, he left this plane in 1968. So it's a universal understanding. It's a timeless wisdom that we are tied together in a single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. We's in this together. There's no separating out those people and them. And here's the thing, once you start doing that, it's easier to do the next ones. And that's what that is, because it kind of picks up momentum. Maybe we ought to do it like we do cleaning out our closets. You know how you pull something out and then you go back and you're like, ooh, not that. And, oh, I could still use this. And, you know, I used to look good. So if we did people like we do that closet thing, we'd just go back and get them. We'd make them, we'd put them on the list, and then we'd be like, oh, no, we can't do, no, we can't. And pretty soon, just like with your little closet clean out, it's all back in there. I'm just saying. And whatever Dr. King says, and whatever affects one directly affects all. Indirectly. This we got to get. For some strange reason, he says, I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. This is the way God's universe is made. This is the way that it's structured. You know, I'm grateful for Centers for Spiritual Living, and I'm just looking for, because I'm looking very specifically for something that in Centers for Spiritual Living, our global vision includes, you know, a number of points. What I want to highlight, though, is something I don't quite see here. But here's what I want to highlight from our global vision, is we envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. If we could just do what we say we do, if we could just be who we say we are. And look, I'm going to hearken back to our summer school read, Shortcut to a Miracle. Because if we go about business as usual, we'll experience the parachute effect. We get, yeah, Rev, you said all that on Sunday. But by Wednesday, we're like out of touch with our part. The call to action on our hearts, on our lives. You know, there's a part of this that, you know, I was going to be here anyhow, no matter who tuned in. And I'm going to do this whether anybody signs up or is willing to participate. This is what I'm committed to. So I'm going to do this, be this, show up in this way. But my prayer is, dare I say simultaneously at the same time, my prayer is that you will be responsive. That you'll hear something, that you'll see something, that you'll read something, that you'll hear something, that you'll sing something, that you'll dance something into your life that transforms your thinking in a way that you are willing to leave it transformed. Because we tend to, you see, the way this game is being played of late is with great insight and some knowledge about human behavior. It is working our tendency to be the willing frog, to just like get in the pot, because right now it feels like it's all right. But if you're not engaging 2020 in 2020, you won't even notice that the heat is turned up. You won't even be tuned in to those folks who are saying, get out of the pot. Do not believe the hype. A couple of weeks ago, we shared about the white tiger, Mohini, who started out with just a 12 by 12 living area. And a collection was taken up, and they built a whole new acreage so that it would be much more like what Mohini might have expected had Mohini ever lived in the wild. And Mohini had never lived in the wild. But to recreate what living in the wilds would be, the expansive, the very thing that we would claim for ourselves, the more expansive life. But once it was all done and they moved Mohini to the new living space, and they were just there at the window, just looking, waiting to see Mohini just run and leap and oh, and Mohini stayed right there in that 12 by 12. Mohini's trying to tell us something. That we tend to live in habitual patterns. And if what we have carved out in our minds and in our hearts is a little 12 by 12, I'm just looking out for me. I call it living by my taste buds. I don't like it, so I'm not going to do it. I don't like who's on the ballot, so I'm not voting. Really? That's part of your responsibility as a citizen. To do the research, to study and prepare, to be an educated voter. No. Because here's the bottom line. The miracle that we are calling forth, where the miracle we are praying for, is where all humanity is honored. Since the very beginning of the launch of this ministry, I have declared that the children be safe. All the children, not just the children we can name, the ones that we saw caged. So we began praying in earnest around a shift around that. And we cannot stop. We're not done. There's no magic. It's not like pray 2 prayers and then get the bus ready. It's that consciousness has to shift. So our miracle-making attitude is the beginning of the miracle itself. We got to believe. Sometimes our prayers are hollow in that we do not believe. And here's the thing, it is done unto us as we believe. Which is different than just what we say. It's not done unto us as based on what we say or how we wish or what people told us it ought to be. That's not the reality. It's done unto us as we are believing. So our prayer continues to be that the children be safe and fed, that no one goes hungry, that the elders are safe and fed, that no one goes hungry, not just the people we know. Are you understanding what I mean? That you don't get to pick some groups. Well, they can go hungry and they can be unsafe. That's the world we've created. It's not a world that works for everyone. It really isn't. And because we have found some satisfaction, someplace, remember what he said, and they came for them, and that wasn't me. because we've been all right with that, we now have a world of exclusion and where harm is intentionally perpetrated. And on our watch, we've been all right with that. So this miracle-making attitude is one where we come to ourselves in a prodigal son and daughter kind of way, where we awaken like, ooh, what I'm doing here? How did I get to live a life not expecting a healing of any of the sick ideas? Not expecting a healing of the exclusion and the boot on the neck attitudes. Well, it's a new day, y'all. 2020 and 2020 is an expectation that there is indeed a healing going on. There's a healing going on, and we are in the midst of it. It's a call to each and every one of us. But the healing is already going on. We're not asking you to bring the healing. The healing is going on. We're asking you to get in it. Kind of in a double Dutch kind of way. You know, the thing is already going. All you got to do is to get in it. Y'all know what I mean? You have to just... there's an alignment. There's an entrainment where we entrain ourselves to the healing vibration, to the frequency of healing, because indeed there is a healing going on. And our brother Jamie Lula wrote a song about it. Here you go.
Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Thank you, Brother Jamie Lula. There's truly a healing to be found in this time of voting with 2020 clarity in the year 2020. And you know, gracious giving is a kind of voting as well. It's the kind of voting where we invoke a John Lewis moment in which we choose to actively make a difference, where we're willing to take a clue even from Mohini the tiger and claim the expansiveness of a world that works for everyone. There are lots of ways in which you can graciously give your gift to Heart and Soul Center of Light. You can mail a check to Heart and Soul Center of Light, 1001 42nd Street, Suite 100, Oakland, California, 94609. You can also give online, setting up a recurring or one-time gift as you wish at heartsoulcenter.org/give. And last but not least, you can text the word give to 510-500-5849. However you choose to give is absolutely right and perfect, and it is also important that we maintain a consciousness of applying blessing to our gift before it is even given, thereby establishing the good that our gift will do in the world. And when at Heart and Soul, we recite our blessing of good together for just this reason. And so I invite us to say together, I bless this gift as healing energy and send it into the divine flow of all good. Infinite prosperity circulates through me, through my church, and throughout the world, because I know God as source, and so it is.
Amen. Family, I am here to remind you that tomorrow we have our Year of Miracles review with our practitioners, Mondays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Sign up by visiting our website. Allow yourself the time to dive deeper into our annual read, A Year of Miracles. Tammy Hall is live on Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific time via Facebook Live. Make sure you support her. Tip generously. Saturdays at 10 a.m. on Pacific time. Facebook, YouTube, and via podcast, our Point of Power with Reverend Andriette, a pop to transform your day. Make sure you're watching it and sharing it. Our Essential Ernest Holmes class begins on Thursday, September 17th, 6 p.m. Pacific time. This class is based on the Science of Mind's Declaration of Principles, also called What We Believe. The class is the 10 weeks, and it is being taught by our beloved Reverend Jack Elliott. The tuition for this class is $295, and there is a partial payment plan available. The prerequisite for this class is the foundational level course, such as Foundations or the Spiritual Principles and Practices class. And this class is required for anyone who considers themselves to be on the practitioner path. So be about it. Get yourself signed up soonest. And if you're thinking about becoming a member of Heart and Soul, you should become a member of Heart and Soul, because it is an amazing place to call yourself a member and to be a part of a community. And membership has its privileges. For example, a discount on that previous class that I mentioned. Our virtual path to membership happens on Saturday, September 26th. It's from 9 to 3:30 Pacific time, and you must attend the entire session to become a member. You can also sign up by visiting our website. Imagining Justice returns on Wednesday, September 16th. And in the meantime, we're reminding you to check your voter status, to make sure you're registered, to stay informed about key voting information, and to vote, and to be an educated voter, to vote responsibly, to vote, and then remember to vote, and then to make sure you vote. And we will see you at IJ on the 16th of September. And we're asking you to save the date, Saturday, October 24th and Sunday, October 25th for the Urban Mindfulness Summit. We will have tickets available for you very soon, but it is going to be an amazing time and an opportunity for us to gather in preparation for the importance of our vote. It is the 60th anniversary of Marcus Bookstores. We want to make sure that they continue to thrive. Visit their GoFundMe to support, and make sure you visit Kingston11eats.com to make sure that you are doing some takeout at Kingston 11 for some Jamaican cuisine, and make sure that they are able to continue to be the town's gathering space. Our teens meet at 11:30 Pacific time on Sundays. You can send an email to thepulse@heartsoulcenter.org in order to be connected. And our Youth and Family Village is doing something new. They have some new videos, specifically one that is around relieving eye fatigue in children, because so many kids are working out that all day, Zoom time. So make sure that you're checking out our Youth and Family. We're really sort of working out videos that are opportunities for the kids to still be engaged in meaningful and purposeful ways. heartsoulcenter.org/watch-YFV. And to get on their mailing list, please make sure that you send email to yfv@heartsoulcenter.org. Remember, family, that we believe in the power of prayer, and following service by about 10 minutes, there will be group prayer available via dial-in, so make sure that you avail yourself to that. We also offer group prayer on Wednesday mornings at 7 a.m. Pacific time using the same dial-in information. And it is my great pleasure to have been of service and to welcome back Reverend Andriette.
Thank you, Revelo. Thank you, Sonia. I want to just acknowledge that I just want to give a shout out to the viewers outside of the Greater Bay Area, from Reno, Nevada, Jackson, Mississippi, Maui, Jaco, Costa Rica, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Denver, Colorado, Atlanta, GA, New York City, Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Tucson, Arizona, San Jose, Costa Rica, and Long Beach, California. And just a special shout out to Miss Stella, she knows who she is, who's celebrating her 85th birthday today. If she's on the line, then happy birthday to you. And one to my godmother, who may well be online as well, who is 95 today. And so I'm just celebrating these two sisters, our elders, just for all that they are, all that they've given, the way they continue to play full out in the world. I am grateful. Also, just a quick update, got my little lifeline together, as it turns out. It's Ross Perot and George Wallace, if you were paying attention to kind of in this era, the top third-party vote getters for a presidential campaign, but still nowhere close to being elected. So if you want to send a message, write an email, make a card, do something. And also just a quick shout out, because I left out Chicago. How can I do Chi-Town? How can I miss Chi-Town from their participation as well? And so now I just want us to come together in a vibration of knowing and knowing that we know. Jamie Lula sang, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. And where two or more agree, they're in the midst of them. So I declare right now, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on in me. And then I outpicture it into the world that I see. And as I see the world more healed, I begin to interface with it. See, everything has to do with who I am and how I am. In our read for today, I'm just setting up the prayer, y'all, right here. Marianne Williamson reminds us that we are heirs to the laws that govern the world we identify with. So if I'm identifying with being a frog in a pot where the fire is being turned up under me, then that's going to be my experience. But if I identify that Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on, I am not as accessible to the laws of scarcity that rule the earth otherwise. When I identify with the worldly, I'm at the effect of the worldly laws. So if we think of ourselves as the children of God, as the divine ourselves, as the expression of whatever words we use, there is only one. We then are in the realm, in the consciousness, in the awareness beyond this world where we find ourselves under the laws of the divine, the laws of the living one, the strong one, where we know and we come into direct and personal awareness that there's only one life, and that life is the life of the divine, the living one, the strong one, the all in all, by any name known to be the source of all there is, the beginning beyond the beginning, the end beyond any end. And to know that we are that we are a part of that we are one with that I don't even have the language. What I know is, God is, I am. And all is exceedingly well. God is, we are. And all is well for all of us. The opportunity is to begin to live into that and take responsibility for ensuring that we all are living in that realization, that we all are having that experience. Oh, I give thanks. I give thanks for this opportunity to speak a word of insight, of knowing that right where we are, the whole perfect and complete nature of God is. And is available to have its full sway in everything. As Ernest Holmes said, in our arts, in our culture, in our politics, in our academics, in our home life, in humanities, in everything. I speak this word knowing that it's done, knowing that right where we are, something is shifting for anyone who's willing to have it shift. As for me and my house, the change is afoot. The willingness to know something more, something different, to expect a miracle, to not give up, to not buy into the less than, the never gonna happen as long as we live. changing our mind right now. It's happening now for all of us who are willing to stand and make a difference. Whatever that difference is, whatever contribution we can make, however we can get in the game to shift the outcome from the worst case scenario to the highest possibility for all concerned. Oh, I give thanks. Oh, I am grateful. It is in divine gratitude and appreciation that I just let go and I let God, that I release this word into the perfect activity of law, that I accept that this is already done, that I know and I know that I know that my word cannot possibly return void. It's turbocharged with my knowing it's done unto me as I believe. And I believe. So I let it be. I know it's done. I take my hands off of it, releasing it, accepting, sealing it for all eternity, and asking that you might join me in sealing it by saying Ashe. Amen. And so it is. I know there's a lot. There's a lot on our minds, in the news, on our hearts. It's a call, though, for us to be optimistic, for us to have a sense of the greater possibility, even while we're in the difficulty. Optimism. And that's the video that I want to leave you.